Welcome to Go Japan here at Brands Hatch for round 7 of Time Attack. We've got all the action from Clubman, Club, and the Pro classes, but first, here are the highlights from today's event. So hopefully that gives you a taste of what's available if you come to one of our Time Attack rounds. Now, each round is different, but they all have incredible cars and not only action on track, but also in the paddock. So before we head into qualifying, let's hear from James Dover, who's actually had quite a difficult week.
I've managed to grab a couple of minutes with James Dover this morning. So, James, you've had a little bit of a drama getting here today, haven't you? So tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, I started the car prep a little late. We were super busy in the workshop, so on Monday night decided I was going to do the car prep, or start the car prep. Drop the catch can, as you do normally. It's hardly anything in it every other round except this one, and basically flooded the workshop with an oily, watery mess.
Oh dear, so what happened?
Well, it seems that the engine was down on compression on one cylinder quite badly from the end of Donington, so had to pull the engine out. It was a standard engine anyway, and we've now put another standard engine back in it, but didn't actually have one that was assembled, so we've built one from what we had laying around in the workshop, basically. Yeah, it's done, I think it's done 130,000 miles, the bottom end, and the head's done another 100 and something, so I don't know.
So you've had to put a new engine, a new block and a new head?
New block, or different block I should say. We didn't take the rods and pistons out, we just checked the bearings. But yeah, different block, different rods, different pistons, different head, valves. I think the only thing we carried over was the cams and the timing chain, and that's pretty much it. But I've had about 7 hours sleep all week, so.
Oh God, so you've had a busy week trying to get this ready, but it's all running again now?
It's running. I haven't driven it, I'm not gonna lie to you. So the first time I drive it is when I go out the pit lane in the warm-up session, but it runs and it sounds good. Dom,
I mean, surely that's all you need, right?
Yeah, it's better than it was on Monday, so yeah, Dom's going to get the laptop on it in a minute, and we're just going to load something quite mild in it, I think, to start with, and see how it goes.
Well, fingers crossed. Hopefully, you know, everything goes well for you today. You managed to get some laps in.
Thank you. It's what we want to do, really.
Thanks, James.
Thanks, Suze.
Let's hope that engine holds out. As many of you will know, motorsport has its ups and its downs, and walking around the paddock, you'll see a lot of work going on to fix or improve cars. Colin Dorward had a very mixed day last time out at Brands Hatch.
So this morning I'm chatting a little bit to Colin Dorward. So Colin, we're back at Brands Hatch, and you had a little bit of an eventful time here last time.
Yeah, we did. We had a tyre fail, a new Pirelli fail on the Saturday, which cancelled our final. And then on the Sunday, had a rear upright fail, and that caused us to actually crash the car and damage it quite significantly. So, yeah.
But up till then, you were doing really well. It was going well.
Yeah, we go pretty well wherever we go. But yeah, you know, but yeah, there was more to come anyways, and that's what was annoying. But anyways, yeah, looking forward to redemption today.
And last time it was your first time at Brands, but the times you were setting, I think, were the quickest times of the day?
Yeah, I believe so. The team were going crazy because I was setting those times pretty much up, even in the practice sessions, and they were always telling me to, you know, slow it down a bit. But yeah, we'll probably be quick again in the practice sessions this time round. We've got a set of new tyres there for to dial in and for the qualifying and the final. So looking forward to today.
So basically hoping to go back out there and redeem it, get the lap times from that maybe you were looking forward to last time?
Yeah, that's the plan. But the car's been really reliable, so I don't see, and I feel good, so I don't see why there should be any any issue there.
Yeah, you had a great round out at Donington last round, didn't you?
Yeah, we were pretty good there. A couple of corners there were difficult, so I couldn't actually get them right, just don't have enough track time. And then I just excelled where I knew where to go, you know, so I just pushed in those areas just to get the lap time. So, but it was normally the areas where you need, you know, the balls to get through. So and that's how we got the lap time. So.
But again, it was your first time at Donington last time, wasn't it? So, is this like a habit you have, come into a track for the first time?
It's been my first time everywhere apart from Oulton Park, and of course the car was fixed by the team in, you know, under 3 weeks after the crash here, so it wasn't quite 100%, and I expected it to be the same. Of course, we spun pretty much in every session. You know, so it was damage limitation. So Oulton Park, although I know it would have been good if the car had been where it is now. But anyways, we'll get back there maybe next year and see how it goes.
Brilliant, but Carl, good today. Yeah, looking forward to seeing those lap times from you today.
Yeah, I mean, the car's great. I mean, we've got a new exhaust for Charlie at CSK Racing Exhaust. Cheers for that, Charlie, for fitting me in. Everybody at Mac Motorsport that helped put the car back together, tuning, Barber Autosport, Track Formula, Clark Motorsport. It's been a good journey, and we've had some bad luck, but hopefully this is our first season, so we're just.
It's a pretty amazing first season, though. So.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes, if the budget's there for next season and the engine stays together and stuff like that. GR Performance for the engine. And Ross Walker, Ross Sport for all the parts and stuff after the crash. So, yeah, all good.
Excellent. Well, yeah, look forward to seeing your lap times out there today, Colin.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Let's hope Colin Dorwood can keep up that form from Donington. Another driver facing challenges with his setup this year is new Club two-wheel drive driver David Lawrence.
So I've managed to just grab David Lawrence this morning. So just give us a bit of background. So you're racing. Tell us a little bit about the car you're in today.
Yeah, I'm in a Seat Leon Cooper today. Signed up for the full season. Thought I'd try something a bit different, having a newer car. Because last year I was in the Corsa VXI and Pocket Rocket. There wasn't many cars in that class, so I decided to move up a class, a bit more competition, bit of a laugh. So. Yeah.
How does it compare to the Corsa then?
It's definitely faster. The times have definitely improved from last year over the Corsa. Even though I've been playing about with the setup, trying to get it right and dialed in. So I've only had it running this way since Feb, so building all the parts ready for the first round. So
you're definitely a front-wheel drive man then?
Yeah, front-wheel drive. It's I find it more engaging on the track. You can drive in all weathers, and it seems to be. Yeah, good.
Yeah, it's going to be hopefully be dry today, so.
Fingers crossed it's going to be dry. I think it's meant to rain about 3 o'clock, but we'll see. I haven't brought my rain tyres, so.
And how's the season been going for you so far?
Up until Donington, I've been near enough at the bottom of the pack, but Donington with a new setup have certainly upped my game, and I seem to be in the mix of things now, so we'll see how we get on today.
So you're hoping for some better times today at Brands?
Yeah, last time I was here was a 54 second summit, so I'm hoping to get at least down to 53, maybe a 52 today.
That would be amazing. And anything else to kind of tell us about the car or how your season has gone?
Yeah, the season's gone really well. I like the hot days because I've still got my aircon and all my fancy gadgets in the car still.
You got that on the off laps, just turned on when you're not on a hot lap?
On the hot days like Oulton Park that we had, it was on constant. Yeah, if I lost a couple of brake horsepower, it was worth it because it was that hot.
Yeah, well hopefully not as hot today. And do you have any kind of particular tactics for when you go out? Do you just go out for the full 20 minutes or?
Yeah, I'll go out, I'll do a couple of laps, get the heat in the tyres, come in, just check pressures are all right, and then basically stay out for the rest of the session. Just sort of treat it as a track day and just keep batting around until I find a good lap.
And how do you find Brands? Because obviously it's quite a short track, there's quite a few cars out on there. Is it quite tricky to find some clear space to get that hot lap in?
Yeah, well at the start of the year they had 30 odd cars on track and it was dead hard to try and find space. but now Simon's juggled it around and we're sort of with similar sort of power cars now, so we should be all right today with a couple of less cars on track. So
have fingers crossed. Well, good luck out there today. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us.
thank you very much. Cheers.
Welcome back to the Time Attack qualifying. Of course, we are here at Go Japan, and by the way, what an incredible build-up program that was. I know we've got a little bit of a new format that we trialed last time out, but that is absolutely incredible. So I really enjoyed watching that. Interesting to see that close-up on David Lawrence's car, actually, with that really aggressive negative camber on the back of that car. And he mentioned that he's brought a new setup to Donington. He's kind of upped his game a little bit, and definitely it shows. He's becoming quite a formidable driver now. We saw him attack really hard coming into Graham Hill a little bit earlier on, and do a 180 coming out of the exit. But managed to collect that, get out of the way of the traffic. The traffic got out of the way of him. And I think it goes to show the standard of driving that we have here at Time Attack. So the morning's running didn't score the drivers any points, but it was crucial lap time, crucial seat time to try to understand the conditions of the day, understand the track, understand the challenge, and perfect that setup of your car, to perfect your own approach to driving a timed lap here on the Brands Hatch Indy circuit. And that's in terms of your tire pressures, your suspension, your anti-roll bar settings, all kinds of other stuff that you can tweak on your car. And finally, this is where it all comes to play, is qualifying and then the final session. So let's just see how this is going. This is, of course, the Team Confusion Ford Fusion machine making its way across the start-finish line right on the heels of Chris Butcher's Lexus ISF. There we go. Let's have a look then, now that, as always, so I'm keeping an eye on the Facebook comments here, and it seems like a tight contest between Team Gizfab and Team Confusion for the most vocal fan base. That being said, Danny James Hunter here chipping in with Team Confusion for P1 and Pocket Rocket. Team Confusion, let's see a big push. Let's see how that situation develops. If you're wondering why we've got some invitational cars here in the mix as well, or on the side of your screen is RWYB1. We have amalgamated the Run What You Brung class into this session alongside the full Time Attack Championship contestants. You can see Chris Butcher there getting a little bit of tire slip coming down Paddock Hill, a treacherous corner that's caught out loads of drivers over the course of the day. I think we are into the double digits of red flags. It's certainly been a tricky day, and you can see Chris Butcher working those tires hard. The tires are known to perform at their best, not only when they're going in the forward direction, but they need to have that slight bit of slip applied to them as well to grip into that tarmac correctly. You can see Chris Butcher there just trying to really maximize his performance coming through Paddock Hill, attacking it with gusto and just getting a little bit of slip as he comes through there. Let's see where he is on the timing screen. Currently running 4th overall and 2nd fastest in class, which is Clubman Plus, currently led by the single round entry, the number 35 Toyota GR Yaris of Alex Gassman of String Theory Garage. For those of you following along at home, you can see, of course, all of the lap times split up by class down the side of your screen, the left side. But if you do want more insights, I strongly recommend you go and open the TSL timing website, and you can have the same timing screen that I'm using right now. Super, super handy. If you're following a particular driver, then you will get all the insights you need right there. Let's take a look at some of the other. Here's another one of the Run What You Brung cars. This is Manny Bull in the Peugeot 206. 110 horsepower or so. Pretty new to motorsport is Manny Bull, but I've spoken to him at length in the paddock, and he's super eager to start building on that pedigree, building on that experience, and he's got the makings of a very formidable track driver, so watch this guy with interest. See the little Hyundai i10 there as well. And this isn't just a regular, what is it? It's an i30N, my mistake. Sorry, this is the single round entry, the number 55 machine. I think I just saw it coming up into the pit lane there. Meanwhile, Stephen Wilkinson, I believe that is, in that red Renault Sport Clio with a 59.8 second lap, crosses the line. And there's an interesting little battle developing, from what I understand, in Pocket Rocket between the machine of Stephen Wilkinson, that Renault Sport Clio RS, and Eden Young in the Gizfab Nissan Micra K11, both of them competing in a Pocket Rocket against each other. And Eden Young having set himself the challenge of cracking that 1 minute lap at Brands Hatch, came ever so close earlier today, last time out at Brands Hatch in fact, and then got within 3/10 of his target today as well. So we'll see whether he manages to finally make that goal, and he is really battling there with Stephen Wilkinson just to try to. That's an interesting little battle that's developing. At the top end then, let's have a look at what's here. This is the number 34 machine. This is the Mini Challenge 210 of Andrew Hawes, built by himself at Garage 34, running a whole bunch of juicy parts. Let's just have a look at what we've got. So Andrew Hawes built the car himself at Garage 34, and it's sponsored and supported by Tarex Brakes, Dervtech Tuning, White Line Suspension, Bilstein UK, Direnza Performance, and a whole bunch of other stuff. There's only 210 of these made, a relatively rare beast, and Andrew Hawes here putting it to good use at Time Attack with that bold polka dot red and white livery. Very striking, and actually quite in tune with the theme of today's show, Go Japan. You know, he's kind of got almost like a rising sun motif on the side of that car. Really, really nice build. And elsewhere then, let's have a look. So Chris Butcher still at the top of the timing screen in that Lexus ISF with a 55.3 second lap. I've said it before, I'll say it again. If this were Monday, Chris Butcher would definitely be my man crush Monday with that Lexus ISF. This is the thinking man. This is the connoisseur's big saloon, big V8 saloon. If you're going for the AMG Merc, if you're going for the BMW M car, that's already been done, guys. Your 4D plates don't impress anyone, and nor do your headlight tints. The Lexus ISF is the cool V8 performance saloon. There you go, I said it. Send all hate mail to me, not to Time Attack, please. This is my own opinion and not theirs. So Chris Butcher still at the top of the leaderboard then. And interestingly then, we have just behind that one of the Run What You Brung 1 cars rolling in the number 836 Honda Civic with a 55.5. Then we have Michael Birch in the Pocket Rocket Honda Civic with a 55.7. A car that we saw go through a pretty significant incident earlier on today, of course at Paddock Hill, because where else? And you know, I must admit, I did not think I'd see that car back today. And to the point where I'm thinking, do they have a spare chassis? Is that what this is? Because it seemed like a pretty significant knock that car had received coming out of Paddock Hill. But whether it's the same car or they've somehow managed to rebuild that already, big effort there, massive, massive kudos to Tegawa Racing for putting that thing back together. And of course, if anyone has all the spares at hand with which to build a fresh Honda Civic, it is Tegawa Racing. So for all of your Honda and otherwise Japanese and beyond car needs, definitely hit up Tegawa Motorsport for all of your goods that you need. So there you go, then that's this angry little Fiesta, the number 830 machine. This is Lee in the 838 Ford Fiesta ST. Here we go, Tim Bedford then, another, it's a driver who's not done too much time attack. I think he's been around for a couple of years now, but a well-established name, and a driver who we know and love from his efforts with his Pro Extreme Subaru Impreza. with a little bit of WRC styling, that he was really driving in a WRC style. He was just sideways all over the place, but in a way that was very safe. It was very cool, it was very collected, and not overly. It was right on that boundary. We can't really black flag him, but he is getting quite a lot of slip angle on there and attacking quite hard. This year, Tim Bedford's back in a Mazda RX-8, which I think was his daily driver, or maybe his partner's daily driver, but it's since now entered use in Time Attack. Chris Butcher then making his way around Druids by the looks of things, and into Graham Hill he comes. Another corner that we've seen catch out a lot of drivers. And Brands Hatch Indy, you know, it's only got a handful of corners, one could argue, but each one of them is just so meaty. There's so much to it. You could write a dissertation on each one of these corners at Brands Hatch, even if there's only 4 of them. You know, that kidney bean shape really, it's much more treacherous than you think a little kidney bean could be. And Graham Hill's another tricky one. We've seen cars struggle around McLaren and clearways, and coming into Paddock Hill as well. And it's because the layout is pretty simple, but it's the elevation changes in the camber. Just look how cambered Paddock Hill was there. It's like a bowl. So these elevation changes are what make Brands Hatch Indy so tricky to drive, because the layout alone, you look at it from the bird's eye view and you think, that's easy. But in reality, it is anything but. Checkered flag is out then, and it looks like Chris Butcher is going to finish this session on top. That's Tom Moon there in the number 115, Clubman plus Subaru Impreza, 4th in class with a 57.6. Who we saw run into a little bit of trouble earlier on, but there you go, he's back. Good to see. Got a few comments here saying, hi, I'm such a big fan. Say hi to Callum Goff. Say hi to Callum Goff. Callum Goff, here you go. Please say hi, Callum Goff in the Tannoy. Please say hi, Callum Goff. There we go. I've said it. I've said it. Callum Goff is well and truly greeted. Great day at Brands Hatch. Hopefully no more red flags. Yeah, let's see. No promises there. If the morning's running is anything to go by. A few Gizfab fans here saying, please Eden, get into the 59s, and let's have a look whether he's succeeded. Let's bring up that timing screen. Has Eden Young managed to crack that minute yet? No. Fails to improve with a 1:06. So ever so close to breaking into the 59s, but alas, not yet. Chris Butcher ends that session on top. You can see the times running down the left side of your screen. Again, segregated by class. That's not social commentary. That is our lap time here at Time Attack. Michael Birch then on the top of Pocket Rocket, something I did not think I'd be saying after today's shenanigans. That car looked very severely damaged, and yet not only is it back, but it has qualified first in Pocket Rocket. And a little bit of a clarification, those of you who are new to the format, qualifying doesn't actually qualify you for anything per se. That's a throwback to when we had a massive entry list in a slightly different format. And you did actually qualify. Only the fastest cars went through to the final. These days, we don't do that anymore, but in reference to days gone by, that session has kept the qualifying name, and it also helps signal that it is an important session that does score points, as opposed to like warm-up and practice, which are a little bit, you know, they don't really score any points or anything like that. Qualifying and the final do, and their name is reflective of that gravitas that those sessions bring. So there you go, Pocket Rocket qualifying results. Michael Birch then at the top, ahead of Hillman, Noon, Wilkinson, and then Young in that Gizfab K11. Runway Brung qualifying, but that's not strictly correct. Runway Brung aren't running to a competitive format. Runway Brung just have 4 sessions. There's no such thing as practice, final, qualifying, any of that stuff. Runway Brung's just Runway Brung. They don't score any points, they don't get any podiums. Traditionally, they don't have any coverage either. So it's quite novel for me to see Runway Brungs here sharing the track with the Time Attack Championship contenders. Because, yeah, we don't often see those. And for those of you wondering at home, Runway Brung is like a lower cost, easy little way to dip your toe into the world of Time Attack. The rule book is more open. You don't need to run the control tire. As I said, the entry fees are lower. And it's essentially like a timed track day. It's not doesn't classify, it doesn't score you any points, you don't get a podium, but you get a flavor for what time attack is. And of course, you can't time on a track day, whereas this is a timed. This is a timed event, and you can get a feel for the time attack weekend. And if you like it, then you can commit to the full season, or even just a single round of the season. It's up to you. So there we go. That's that. And now our club cars line up to go out onto the track. Remarkably, I think that might be the first session that I've seen today, at least, that did not have a single, I'm not going to say it. I mean, I have to say it because I did not have a single red flag. Let's see if I've just cursed this. But yeah, great, good to see. So we're nice and tight, running to the schedule-ish. And off our club cars go out onto the track. So for your information, this session includes Club 2-wheel drive, Club 4-wheel drive, and Ram Air Run What You Brung Class 2. So our Run What You Brung category attracts a whole bunch of cars, a whole bunch of drivers, all mixed abilities, mixed spec. And instead of bunching them all in together, they've kind of been segregated by their performance. So the faster Run What You Brungs are running in this session, and the slower Run What You Brungs are running in the previous session. So we're going to see some pretty serious machinery here in the Club 2-wheel drive, Club 4-wheel drive, and Ram Air Run What You Brung. That's David Dyson, speaking of serious machinery, in that Porsche 911 GT3. The number 144 machine. We saw an interesting fight develop earlier on, where actually throughout most of the season the story has been all about Ross Walker and David Dyson in the BMW M4 and the 911 GT3 respectively. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, these two Honda Integra Type Rs, and we saw earlier on Susie Wallace talking to James Dover about that Honda Integra DC5, putting in a new engine, all of that struggle that he's been through. And then he goes and puts it the fastest in Club 2-wheel drive out of nowhere. And so suddenly the fight that was David Dyson versus Ross Walker versus Johnny Fletcher and occasionally Jonathan Ellsworth, suddenly like a wrecking ball, James Dover came in as well with that Honda Integra DC5. It's another car that intrigues me a lot. This is the number 122 machine of Kazitskas, the BMW M3 Alpena, which, there you go, is running a kind of a GT3, GT4 looking style with a Works inspired livery, apparently an Alpena spec. It's a car that I was admiring in the paddock earlier on. Looks like a very, very serious build, and it's exactly the kind of thing I like to see here at Time Attack. And you can see it following its successor, that two-door BMW M4, around the outside of Clark Curve as they head up the hill to set their flying laps. So Ross Walker first across the line. In fact, this is his first flying lap, and you can now see all of these first hot laps being punched in. David Lawrence, who we saw being interviewed by Susie earlier on as well, with a 58.2, goes fastest of all so far in this very early stage of the session. Of course, there are still 12 whole minutes. Ross Walker there getting a little bit sideways coming into Graham Hill. Easily done, especially in a car like that. Big power, big torque, and rear-wheel drive, of course. So we have three M3s running in succession. We have this Courage shape, then behind it the 92, and just behind that a 46. So we had a Honda Civic parade earlier on, but you'd be forgiven for mistaking this for a BMW 3 Series parade. There we go, Graham Martin, a single round entry, going fastest in Club 4-wheel drive. And there goes Ross Walker. Neil Greenland, the fastest in Club 2-wheel drive. Ross Walker, fastest in Club 2-wheel drive, displaces Neil Greenland. Ronan Bradley, the fastest Run What You Brung in that BMW M3. Again, that trio of M3s there. We've got a car stopped on the inside of Druids. What's going on there? He is off the line. But that is Samuel Pickering in the Club 4-wheel drive BC Racing Super Impreza Type RA, and that has brought out the rad flag. You cannot have a car stop there and keep the session live. That is just asking for trouble. So the session then, literally when I just said, oh wow, we haven't had a single red flag yet. There you go. Oh dear. Okay, so but we did well. We got through one whole session without a red flag. So I think we all deserve a pat on the back for that. That being said, that joy was short-lived and the red flag is out. So our drivers then making their way back into the pit lane. Let's see what you have all been up to in the comments section. Come on, Team Delano built. Come Come on, James Dover. James Lopez saying, please say Simon Goff, he is a good dad. I mean, there we go. Simon Goff is a good dad. I've got some downtime, so I'll read some comments out. But I'm afraid, James, I do also need to do some commentary. So Simon Goff, he's a great dad, and there you go. I'm afraid I'm going to need to look at some other stuff too. Big shout out to Team Delano built. There we go. So Samuel Pickering being seen to by the Marshal. Which class was the 206 Pug in RWYB? Asks Empire Motorsport. That's correct. That's Manny Bull in Run What You Brung. Excuse me, I'm just going to sneeze now. Okay, that was a good sneeze. Oh dear, I woke up today with the worst sore throat, and now I'm doing a day of commentary. Bad times. Anyway, so there we go. Everyone lined up in the pit lane. Just waiting for that incident to be clear. It doesn't look too serious. Some kind of stoppage there, presumably mechanically related. Spoke too soon. Another red. Oh dear. Shout out to Team Garage 500 Drift Team representing this weekend from Titch. I think that was the purple R32 Skyline, if I'm not mistaken. Very cool. I think I did see it missing a chunk of bumper, but I mean, that's just, if your bumper isn't in bits, are you even drifting? I think a lot of the drivers here would be a lot more concerned if they sustained damage to their car, you know, just looking down this time attack pit lane now. But in the drift paddock, that's just completely par of the course, isn't it? So throw in some cable ties, aka drift stitches, and as good as new, basically. You've got a brand new drift car. All you need is some cable ties. So that's Natalie Brooks in the faster BMW M3, one of those later models now. So the BMW M and 3 Series chassis very well represented here today. James Lopez saying, please and beg you, okay, right. Please say hi to my brother Charlie Goff. There we go, Charlie Goff, don't be sad. You now have a shout out as well. Jack Drift Stitch. Oh, he's even called Drift Stitch. I was talking about Drift Stitches. So Jack Drift Stitch is no stranger to the old Drift Stitches then, with the purple R32 Skyline and the black gold faster R34. Making up Team Garage 500 Drift Team. So there you go. Those of you who were here watching from the trackside, the drift demo was super, super cool. And you can see that's Luke Senjakovsky. So it looks like our drivers are out there getting ready for the pro session shortly. That's Mantas Schloggeris in the pit lane, Gymkhana World Champion. So you can see the Thunderwood Racing team there assembled, looking at something. Mark Marty there as well. Rob Dowsett. So Rob Dowsett's a guest star from circuit racing. He's participated in a little bit of sim racing league that we at Thunderwood Racing staged this during the lockdown, and he's just like a lot of us here at Time Attack, you know, really building on his own personal track driving pedigree. And of course, that's the great thing about Brands Hatch. I'm going to see if I can spot any more people. So let's see who else we've got who is not necessarily of this cherish. Nobody yet. We've got the Stig over there. So yeah, this is the great thing I think about Go Japan and Brands Hatch coming. Go Japan and Time Attack coming to Brands Hatch specifically, is that it brings together. You know, this is the race that is closest to the capital city, and it attracts such a variety of people here. Great show. I mean, I think massive credit to the team that organized Go Japan. It's just brought in a super cool crowd. And you can see here the club cars just filing up. And looks like, are they ready to go back out on track? Yep, the green flag is now out again. can see somebody now spamming the comments, so let's just flag that as spam. So please stop doing that. I'm here trying to give you guys a good time and not deal with spam. So here we go. Let's just report both those for spam. Not going to do that. Right, so there we go. So please pray to the red flag god not to come again. What car was the blue and black roadster in the last round of Time Attack? Good question, Dan Burton. I can try to answer that for you. That was called a, because it's been out with us here today actually, that is a Xenos E10R running as part of the Ram Air Run class. I must admit, when I first saw it, I thought maybe it was some kind of kit car, something like that, a reshell of something else, but it's actually a fully bespoke, from the ground up, you know, kind of in the vein of an aerial atom or a KTM crossbow. Very, very serious machine driven by Tim Morrison is the Xenos E10R. So there you go, you've got that, Dan Burton. Hope that answers you. And let's get back with the action. So we again, let's have a look at these BMW M3s. Now, actually, let's have a look. This is the number 964 machine of Chrissy Martin, the GR Performance Super Impreza GC8. Ross Walker then goes faster still with a 53-second lap. That puts him right at the top of that leaderboard. And here goes Neil Greenland in that Mitsubishi Colt. And I did make a mistake earlier. From a distance, I thought that E36 M3 was actually an E46, so I do apologize for that. But the Club 2-wheel drive battle then hotting up with, I mean, for me, this is just the beauty of Time Attack, isn't it? Where in one class, you've got, look, you've got this Caterham over here of Jonathan Ellsworth. You've got a 911 GT3. You've got the Mitsubishi Colt. You've got the Vauxhall Astra of Johnny Fletcher and the BMW M4 of Ross Walker and the Integra Type R of James Dover. And now all of these cars are running so competitively in the same class. And for me, you know, if you love cars, if you love modifying, if you love car culture, like I do, there is no cooler category of motorsport than Time Attack, just because it's just all mixed up together. You know, there's just so much to talk about and pick apart in terms of the builds. And I know a lot of the drivers send over, well, some, actually, let's rephrase it. Some of the drivers send over their spec sheets. And yeah, it's very, very interesting reading. And we heard here about James Dover then just rebuilding that engine earlier today after a few problems. And also, let's have a look at the machine of Jonathan Ellsworth, because that's a very cool machine as well. Caterham Super Sport, I believe. Yep, with a 140 horsepower engine from the factory, but now it has a naturally aspirated 1600cc Ford Sigma engine, rebuilt by Premier Power Race and Performance Engines, and now it produces 198 brake horsepower. There it is on your screens right now. The hands of Jonathan Ellsworth, fully forged with forged pistons, steel rods, port and polished head, upgraded valves, valve springs, and so on, with a rev limit of 8,000 RPM and a weight of 535 kilos. That is a very, very serious machine. Around 377 brake horsepower per ton. So there we go, Jonathan Ellsworth, as always, in the fight, praying that it doesn't rain today, because that is just not a good time. It's like driving a bubble bath, but a cold one. Like driving an ice bath. Pack some bath bombs if you're going to drive the Caterham on a rainy day, just to give you something to enjoy. But luckily the rain's staying at bay. I did think it might rain a little bit, because Brands Hatch just has this weird little meteorological ecosystem of its own, where, you know, the rest of county of Kent could be hot and sunny, and then Brands Hatch has just got its own little localized thunderstorm. So you never know what to expect here. But luckily that rain's staying at base so far. James Dover then overtaking everybody in Club 2-wheel drive. Again, probably the most hotly contested class that we have here in Time Attack. Club 2-wheel drive then massively, massively subscribed to. I'm not even going to bother to count, but a lot of cars here in this class, and all of them very, very close, the match. That being said, James Dover then overtaking everybody so far, leapfrogging the whole bunch, taking first in class, first overall with a 52.7 second lap, half a second clear of David Dyson in that Porsche 911 GT3. And until now, the fight has been all about Ross Walker and David Dyson, with a few others thrown in. And suddenly, I mean, I really don't remember this happening before, but James Dover in this freshly rebuilt Honda Integra Type R DC5 is just a man reborn. And right up to the timing screens he goes. And actually, there we go, Jonathan Ellsworth is in the fight too, running third overall and third in class two-wheel drive. So Ross Walker then still just battling his way up. Ross Walker down in fourth with a 53.7. Jonathan Ellsworth with a 53.2. That being said, second, third, and fourth are very, very closely matched. And in fact, our top 6 are all within a second of each other overall. Of course, my timing screen doesn't separate them by class, which yours do. If you look to the side of the video footage, you can see that the drivers are segregated into their respective categories. There we go, that's Max Chowdhury in the Thunderwood Racing Nissan S14, running a brand new T89 race car wing. Very cool to see. And there's Ramunas Chapoulis. We got a bumper pack here, mixing in the Run What You Brungs with the regulars, with the single round entries. Ramunas Chapoulis then in that Amuse GT1 kind of styled Honda S2000, if memory serves me well. This particular one being Toyota 2JZ powered. Ramunas, or Ramus for short, is a very accomplished driver, lap record holder at Cadwell Park in Classic and Retro, at least was at one point, and he is a real Honda specialist with a whole bunch of very special cars. There's this Honda S2000, and if I remember correctly, has at least 2 Honda NSXs, and has previously had a Honda K series, though a Honda F20C powered, I think, Toyota AE86. So he is no stranger when it comes to spicy Hondas. Today, opting to bring this S2000, which he used to drift with competitively in Europe, from what I understand. Very, very handy driver, good buddy of mine. He's given me a lot of help in my own builds. And here he is today in that Honda S2000. You can just see it putting that power down, squirreling around all over the place. And if anyone is capable of handling a sideways cars, it's Ramus Chapoulis in that Honda S2000. He was very, very quick earlier on. And in fact, after an absence from Time Attack of 18 plus months, he has jumped straight back into it and gone 4th fastest overall with that Honda S2000, putting in a 53.4. Neil Greenland just behind him then in that Mitsubishi Colt. Used to have a great fight with Simon Norris and the other Mitsubishi Colt, but he has since brought back his Mitsubishi Evolution chassis, for which he is known and loved worldwide, and we will see that out later on in the Pro Extreme class. Neil Greenland then flying, bombing down Paddock Hill and up and into Druids. He goes around the outside of Sean O'Mara's DC2 Integra. Again, Ramus Chapoulis just before him, getting a little bit squirmy as he puts down the power in that Honda S2000. Great to see an old friend back here in Time Attack. And let's just have a look. So the order remaining, so we have half a minute of this session remaining. Let's have a sip of water very quickly. There we go, Chrissy Martin taking the top place in his class right now. And of course, this is qualifying, this is points scoring. And as we've seen from other championships worldwide, you can win or lose a title or a position that was important to you on 1 point alone. So of course, qualifying matters so much here at Time Attack. And yep, so our drivers then making sure they squeeze in every single lap that they can out of this session. Johnny Fletcher we saw stop out on track a little earlier on, but luckily he is back out there. We can see a whole bunch of cars there just making their way back to the pit lane. Natalie Brooks there ahead of Max Chowdhury in the Nispro machine. And I mean, I thought the checkered flag was, oh yeah, of course the checkered flag is out, so the drivers are now going to take the checkered flag, and then they can go back into the pit lane into Parc Fermé, Pug Ferme, I should say, to make sure that their car is compliant with all of their rules and regs. And then we will be kicking off our pro session very shortly. So did we have a red flag just now? We did, didn't we, right at the beginning? Never mind. Wishful thinking. There you go, Max Chowdhury in the Thunderwood Racing S14. 2JZ swapped this pro-built machine. Ramis Chapoulis there in that S2000 power. S2000. I mean, it's got to be one of my favorite cars here at Time Attack. Not that we see it too often, but when it does reappear. And Ramis has got some other really cool stuff. The car that he claimed the Classic and Retro lap record in is actually a Honda NA1 NSX that has been since facelifted to NA2 and is also entirely made of carbon fiber in terms of the body panels, all done by Ramis Chapoulis himself. So he's a super handy guy when it comes to making spicy Hondas. And yeah, great to see him back here today. There we go. And speaking of spicy Hondas, there's Sean Amar just ahead of him as well. And that's the green light insurance machine, I think. Where is this? Shane. Oh, this is Shane Lelliott, Hypertune Ford Focus ST. It's not a car that I've seen before. It's a single round entry. But we did get that nice close-up of it just now. And we also have a green light insurance Ford Focus. Okay, we've got two Ford Focuses. There you go. Both of them single round entries. So do apologize. That is actually, the car I've been calling green light is actually Shane Lelliott's Hypertune machine. And that is the number 837, Dave Avis and the Team Legacy Seat Leon Cupra. And there goes Max Chowdhury in that Nispro built machine. And let's just have a look here. So Team Legacy with a big presence here today. An iconic name. Those of you who have followed Time Attack for a while will of course know the Team Legacy name. Named as such because it used to compete with a Subaru Legacy, a very, very iconic build. And today they're here with two BMW M3s and a Seat Leon Cupra. There are the results of the session on your screen now. Barry Stevenson asking, is the Fusion out today? Yes, it is. This Fusion is out today. Saw it earlier on. Do you think Simon Norris will break the SVA Evo record of 45 seconds? Who knows? It's hard to say. Black Mamba also once did a 45.8. So there we go. So one thing that I'm especially excited about is seeing, you know, our pro cars are out on track, and we've got those names: Simon Norris, Black Mamba, SVA Evo. You know, a lot of these names are getting thrown around, and listening to the grapevine and to the rumor mill and so on, I keep hearing all these very iconic names being linked to our Pro Extreme class, like the good old days. And I don't know about you, but I am very excited to see a Time Attack renaissance if and when all the big household names come back to Time Attack. That would be absolutely awesome. So there we go, Darren Spooner then. Speaking of household names, here's Darren Spooner in that Spooks Motorsport machine. You can just see it lifting a wheel as it comes through Druids now. And there we have Ben Robinson just yielding that track position to him while he finds his way around. Roman Grandal in that number 333 Audi S3, usually all-wheel drive, but today competing in the Club Pro two-wheel drive class because with its fancy sequential gearbox shenanigans, this car is actually only two-wheel drive. So there you go. And let's have a look. Darren Spooner then. So he seems to have done this quite a lot today. He gets out of the queue in the pit lane first, or one of the first. And what that means is he gets some clean air running before, you know, the real traffic happens. I mean, Brands Hatch Indy is a very short circuit, and when you put a whole bunch of cars on there, you start to deal with traffic pretty quickly. And you think, look, you've got different classes here, you've got different specs, you've got drivers of different experience, and not only that, but our drivers are on hot laps and then cooling laps, and you've got a whole different variety of paces mixed into one session. So dealing with that traffic is a key skill that you need here in Time Attack. And Darren Spooner there sidestepping the need to do that by being the first out of the pit lane to just get some banker laps in. And Simon Norris wasting absolutely no time. You can see him there on your screen in that short wheelbase Mitsubishi Evo 9. Up and into Druids he comes. Perhaps let's try to follow him around for a little bit, just to see what this car is capable of. So it's just at the fastest lap of this session, not the fastest lap of the day yet. He has gone quicker than this, if I remember correctly. You can see it doesn't even have headlights, it's just got stickers, and instead it's got little LED spotlights on the bumper. Because of course headlight units are weight, and in Pro Extreme you can cut out basically all the weight that you want. It's a very open rulebook. It would have been interesting to see a battle develop between Simon Norris and Colin Dord, but I haven't seen Colin Dord run since warm-up, so I guess that battle is not going to happen. But here's Paul Wright in that Super Impreza P1. Very rare machine indeed, and if you're looking at that thinking, is that a two-door Impreza? Is that an Impreza Coupe? You are absolutely right. And in fact, not only that, but we also have had, I don't think we've got it today, but we've had a Super Impreza Type R here with us, which is also a coupe. And we've got Paul Wright, who's a regular with that Impreza P1, with that factory wide body, WRC inspired shell, and two doors only. Very rare machine indeed, but instead of being parked up in a garage and looked at, instead Paul Wright is here kicking his head in at Time Attack, which is what these cars were built for, and I absolutely love to see it. Let's take a look at our times then. So Simon Norris back in the pits, of course, thinking, look, I've set a very quick lap time. I am unlikely to get challenged. So far, he is 3 seconds clear of anybody else. So just to minimize that running, he's parked up the car for now. And yeah, no need to push that too much, really. Michael C. Ashby saying, is that a P1 or a 22B? You made me doubt myself now. If I remember correctly, it's a P1. And that's what I've been calling it. Paul Wright is in a P1. I mean, my entry list doesn't specify actually. Oh no, it does. It is a P1. I've just been thinking it's a P1. No, it is a literal P1 actually. So there you go. That is the number 61 machine. So there it is actually. This is, where is it? This is another spicy Impreza. Here we go. That's Ian Pittman. Sorry, in the, there we go. Number 81 is the Super Impreza Type R. So there we go. See, so I'm getting my wires crossed. Is that because I was calling it a factory wide body. Of course, it's the 22B with a factory wide body, but it's a P1. So I was getting a bit mixed up there. You're right, the 22B is the wide body. Anyway, so there you go. John Stewart, as always, he is such a Time Attack expert, so I'm always very thankful when he comes in and saves me. So thank you for that. And of course, we do also have the number 81 Impreza Type R of Ian Pittman, which is also a coupe. Meanwhile, here goes the number 87 machine. Who is not on my entry list. Well, never mind. Intrigued, who is there? Why is my entry list? Maybe that was 57. That could have been Stuart Sims actually in that car. So there we go. There's Ben Robinson in the Noble M12. Another recurring household name is Ben Robinson, or at least that's what he's quickly becoming He's competed in this Noble M12 for a very long time. Then it took a bit of time out to have an engine rebuild and all kinds of other stuff. So in the meantime, he competed in a Volkswagen Golf Cup car that he just straight up bought off eBay. I mean, eBay is an incredible place, right? You can just buy anything on eBay. So he bought a ready-built Volkswagen Cup car off eBay, brought it to Time Attack, and now that the Noble is finished, he is back in that. He does also have a Toyota GR Yaris, which we've seen campaigned earlier today as a single round entry. And it would be really interesting to see what this newer GR machinery can do. I've seen a few GR Yaris's in the paddock, seen a few GR Supras, including my own, and it would be, I'm quite tempted to enter that, you know, either a Supra or a Yaris. I mean, GR are really on a roll these days, super cool cars. Both myself and Ben Robinson then just making that dive. That factory homologation special rally, you know, all-wheel drive stuff that the GR Yaris is absolutely incredible, and not a car I would ever think to see released in 2021. We are so far beyond that. We're in the land of soulless automatic EV self-driving nonsense, and then Toyota come out and release a car like that. They are truly the MVPs of this century. So there we go. Steve Henson goes fastest in his class, GT3 sports car and prototype, in that 996 GT3 Cup. And here is the number 11 car of Chris Cherry, the Cherry Racing Mitsubishi Evo 5. Currently running first in his class, Club Pro four-wheel drive with a 51.7. Simon Norris then remaining in the pits, seeing no need to go out and build on his lap time. Another interesting story there is that Honda Civic, which at the beginning of the day I mistook for one of the Cup cars, given its overall look and feel, and the fact, where is it classed right now? It doesn't matter. So the point I'm getting at is that I thought that was one of the Cup cars that was getting some extra seat time here in Time Attack. But no, that is actually Luke Senjakovsky of Tegua Racing, the Honda and just generally car tuning parts expert, and he of Honda K-Series swapped NSX fame, but the NSX is still out of action. So instead, he's built and brought this FN2 shaped Civic instead, built to a very racy spec indeed. So great to see Luke Senjakovsky back in Pro two-wheel drive. There he goes, the Tegua Racing Honda Civic FN2 chassis, the 133 car. Meanwhile, I think that's Andrew Barber coming across the line. That's just a very, very fast guy indeed. AKB Racing is the, yep, that's him in the Mitsubishi Evo 9. Darren Spooner goes fastest in Club Pro two-wheel drive, so there we go. Let's just see how that battle is fighting up. Shaping out, it's Darren Spooner versus Ben Robinson versus Roman Grendel. Ben Robinson won his class last time out, so Darren Spooner will be keen to come back with an answer to that. And you can see a little lick of flame there from the side of that Subaru Impreza Type R of Ian Pittman, the number 81 machine. There you go, Andrew Barber then just making his way around clear ways, and then Clark Curve, hot on the heels of that Subaru Impreza Type R of Ian Pittman. Andrew Barber then going fastest in his class, BC Racing Pro four-wheel drive with a 49.1 second lap, going second fastest in session, first fastest overall. And Darren Spooner goes fastest still in his class with a 51.6. And so far, it seems like Ben Robinson does not have an answer to that, with 1.5 seconds between them. So Ben Robinson, having won last time out, doesn't seem to be quite on the pace of Darren Spooner today, and I do wonder why that is. Of course, Brands Hatch is such an interesting circuit, because you look at it and you think, this is just some kind of kidney bean. What even is this? But each corner is so meaty. There's just, you know, you could just study. I mean, Paddock Hill with that downhill thing, and then you got the uphill section coming into McLaren and Clearways. You got the funny downhill braking zone into Graham Hill. It's such a tricky circuit to get right. And I guess it's one that just suits Darren Spooner a little bit more this time around versus the, I guess, higher speed circuit that is Donington when we were out last time, which is a very, very different circuit. Let's look at the 127 machine. This is Bradley John in the number 127 Mitsubishi Evo 9 in Pro 4-wheel drive. BC Racing Pro 4-wheel drive. Single round entry again is Bradley John. You can see him with that really striking blue and red livery, hot on the heels of Darren Spooner. Of course, this is not wheel-to-wheel competition. This is time attack, and so these drivers are under no obligation to yield each other any track time, and you know, they are fighting just to set their own personal lap. So they're just focusing on their own drive. Now, there's a bit of etiquette involved here in time attack. You know, a key, if you just want to set lap times on your own, then there are hill climbs and there are sprints and there's, you know, all kinds of boring stuff that caters to that. You know, a key part of the challenge of time attack is managing the traffic, managing your car, managing your own lap times on a track where 20 other drivers are trying to do exactly the same thing as you. So it's a very unique challenge. For me, that was a key attraction of time attack, because it feels a lot like pack motorsport, but without that risk of wheel banging. So for me personally, I love time attack. It's my favorite category of motorsport. And just in terms of the variety of the cars, but just the competitive format itself. And you can see here that both drivers with their headlights on to signal to everyone around them that they are on a hot lap. And when that's the case, they don't need to yield to anybody. But when you're not in a hot lap, because really most cars can't do lap after lap after lap for 20 minutes hot. You know, they need to cool things down, cool down the brakes, cool down the tires, take a breath themselves, the drivers. So cars do need to do cool down laps now and then, and they kind of alternate between the two. So you can see the red light flashing here on the back of the number 22 machine of Matt Newing, and that signals to everyone around him that he's on a cool down lap. He's not looking to go quickly, and he will yield track position if he needs to. That being said, his headlights have just gone on, so he is ready to do another hot lap, presumably, but no, his cool down light. See, it's not entirely clear what happens, what drivers mean when they do this, because there you go, tail light. I think he might have knocked the headlights by mistake, actually. There we go. That's why they've now come off. Checkered flag is out then. So let's review some of these results. Simon Norris then went fastest of all on lap 3, and then just parked it up. Clear. But that being said, Andrew Barber did take a chunk out of his lead. Now down to 1.8 seconds, so Andrew Barber then leading his class, which is BC Racing Pro 4-wheel drive. Then in Pro 4-wheel drive, the number 100 machine of Gary Hayward of AP Tuning. Then we have the number 22 machine of Matt Newling. Then we have Bradley John, Ian Pittman, Darren Spooner, Chris Terry. We have Plant, Sims, Robinson, Wright, Senjakovsky, Grendel, Henson, and Doyle. And of course, you will see the results up on your screen, broken down by class shortly. And that rounds up our coverage of time attack qualifying for now. Let's just take a look at the timetable. And then we have a 5-minute break. Okay, that's good, so I can have a sip of water. And then we're back into the final, by the looks of things. So don't really go anywhere. Sit tight, and we are very close to schedule, actually. So we've done a great job to catch that back up. So there you go. This is their Time Attack Championship qualifying result for our various classes. So there you go. If you do want to see the data live, then go into TSL timing, put that into Google. Timing Solutions Limited. That's it. And then you can bring that up on your screen and have access to all the same data that I do if you want to follow a particular driver. So I hear engines rumbling outside, and it looks like we've just gone straight into okay, so come back. In that case, we will see you. We're going to take a 1-minute break. Yeah, just stay tuned. Keep an eye out on our social page and tune back in for the next stream.